The opinions and statements expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of WWDB, its staff, or management.
You are listening to In the Know with David O. Informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio on 860 AM WWDB. And now, your host, Philadelphia Councilman David O.
Good afternoon and welcome to In the Know with David O. I'm Councilman David O. Thanks for tuning in. Whether you're in Philadelphia or our surrounding area, you're all welcome to listen in. We have some excellent guests as usual. Today, we will be hearing from the Consul General of Mexico in Philadelphia, the Honorable Alicia Kerber-Palmer. And for all you sports fans, the very popular Christian Crosby is joining us. You may know him as the voice of the Sixers. He does that and so much more. And listen, for those who are out there who are kind of like my age and above, we're seniors or we're certainly in the elderly population. And you look so much younger these days when you're older, but no. One of the problems, a serious problem that we have is identity theft and scams that are pulled upon people who are older in age because there's a perception of easy targets, and particularly with the technology curve. And so from AARP, Angela Foreshaw Rouse is here to talk about Operation Stop Scams and how that fits in with protecting our seniors. But first, let me thank Weinerman Pain and Wellness, our show sponsor, the wonderful work they do in helping those who are injured, physically injured, get better, heal faster, get back to work and back to an active life, which is so important not only for the physical person, but the mental person. Something I'm sure Christian Crosby knows working with the Sixers, and how demanding that is on them. Let me thank last week's guests, and the reason I say that is you could listen to all of these shows, all of our podcasts at www.wwdbam.com. Last week, if you recall, we talked about national security. What is national security? May sound like a simple question, but there's just a lot involved with that. But we had three excellent experts. Colonel Tim Williams, a retired Green Beret colonel who led 2,000 Green Berets and Navy SEALs in the Middle East, former Director of Operations, Special Operations Command Central, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Peters, U.S. Navy SEAL, Lieutenant Colonel Charlie Forshee, who retired as a Lieutenant Colonel in the U.S. Army, combat veteran, but also an advisor to foreign nations on how to handle their national security. Well, at this time, let me introduce you to the Consul General of Mexico in Philadelphia. That is Alicia Kerber-Palmer. I simply call her Alicia Kerber. I don't know, but we'll find out from her which one she prefers. Anyway, she is a career member of the Mexican Foreign Service since 1991. She has had a very long list of service that has taken her to many different countries and many different roles. But before she came to Philadelphia, she was the Consul General in Kansas City, Missouri. And so from Kansas City, Missouri, and her jurisdiction included Kansas, she comes to the East Coast to Philadelphia and our region, where she represents the area of not only Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, this area, but also Delaware, southern New Jersey, and a portion of, I believe,
Delaware and southern New Jersey.
Yeah, Delaware and southern New Jersey. Okay. So without any further ado, let's welcome Consul General of Mexico, Alicia Kerber-Palmer. All right.
Thank you so much for the enthusiasm.
Oh, my goodness. And thank you for being here. You have a big job. But let me say that not everybody knows what a Consul General does. And so could you tell us a little bit about what your responsibilities are?
Well, mainly we as consuls need to represent our country here in the United States or wherever we are posted. But in this case, what we are trying to do is to strengthen the relation between Pennsylvania, Delaware, the south part of New Jersey with Mexico, not only in the cultural field, but also in the business activities and in the academic field. So as you can imagine, we have a lot of work to do at the Consulate. I have been, as you said, working in Kansas. There's a huge Mexican community in both areas. Also in Kansas, there's a huge Mexican community as well here in Pennsylvania. But in part of our job is also to see that the rights of our community are respected. And it's not only the job of a Mexican consulate, it's the job of any consulate everywhere. Even the North American consuls that are, I don't know, maybe in Dublin or Berlin, they need to see that the rights of their nationals are respected. So that's my job. Since I was working in the Foreign Service since 1991, as you said, I may look young, but I'm not so young. But I feel very young.
Well, you look young.
You do look young.
You are very
Thank you so much
energetic.
to all of you.
And let me say this, that actually, for our listeners, our relationship and our growing relationship with Mexico is actually very important to us Pennsylvanians and people in our region in terms of jobs, employment, and opportunity. Could you tell our listeners a little bit about the financial and economic relationship we have?
Yes, of course, there are plenty of information about that. I think that Mexico has turned into a trending topic in the last months, for good or for worse. But it's good. As long as people talk about Mexico, every news of Mexico is good. It has been said so much about that the trade has damaged United States, that it's only one side benefits for Mexico. And there's, I think, a lack of information because 8 million jobs depend on the trade that is done between Mexico and United States.
8 million U.S. jobs.
8 million U.S. jobs. Behind those 8 million U.S. jobs, there are 8 million families. So that means a lot of people depending just in the trade of Mexico-United States. That the deficit, it has been said that we are taking advantage of the deficit that the United States has with Mexico. Well, the deficit that the Mexico has with the United States is lower than the one that the United States has with China, with Japan, with Korea, with Germany, with France, with Russia. So we are not that top in that deficit. If we talk about jobs, well, it has been proved that 5 of the jobs that are lost in trade, 4 of them are lost because technology. So it's not because Mexicans are taking the job. The more increase there is in manufacturing outputs, the lower manufacturing jobs go.
Yes.
So the problem is not on the people. The problem is going to be in technology. So let's move forward and begin to work together in how can we work in this new field.
Could I interrupt you for a second? Because, there was a recent study that came out that said that facts do not change people's minds, that people believe something even though it's wrong, and when you provide them facts, they resist or oppose the facts. So it's been very challenging in today's environment to really convince people based on evidence. And so some people have heard about the negative impacts, and even though there are facts to provide that actually the relationship is very healthy and strong, people just don't believe it right away. What I'd like to do is just break down for our listeners that here in our region, Mexico, Pennsylvania, for example, the relationship with Mexico represents $8.3 billion in trade, and Mexico is the second largest market for Pennsylvania exports. And we have 200,000 jobs in Pennsylvania that depend on trade. And to put it in a more complex way that listeners can check out later, deficits are not necessarily bad because deficits can represent things that are growing and good and create a lot of jobs. That may sound kind of odd, but if you think about it, when people start a business, they get a big bank loan, for example, and you got to put out money to make money. And so it goes with international trade. But, for folks who want to look at it more simply, if you love some products like I do, like Entenmann, Sara Lee, and all that, well, that's actually U.S. jobs baking those brand name items, but it is a Mexican company that is the owner of all those companies and providing those salaries and everything. Bimbo Bakeries, the world's largest bakery, their U.S. Canada headquarters is right here in Pennsylvania in Horsham. And so those type of things that you're dealing with, maintaining not only the Mexican population, the culture, but also the trade, the imports, and this new Veracruz line, whatever's going to happen with that, and so many other things, is all part of your responsibilities.
Yes, of course. As you have said, it's very easy to disqualify what the numbers of the government is giving. Sometimes people only follow what it is said in 40 characters. That is sometimes complicated. But just to let you know, David, the U.S. exports to Mexico are huge. We are the second market of the United States. We are the second market over China, Japan, Germany, and France combined. So we must take that in account. Just in the border, we trade $1 million per minute. So I don't know how much we've been talking now. I think that 4 or 5 minutes. $4 or $5 million have been traded in this moment. And we share people that live in the border. There are 4 million people that live in the border in both sides that share a binational identity. They don't feel that they are from Mexico. They don't feel that they are from United States. They share this binational identity, and they are willing to work together in order to really boost the relation of our two countries. So I think that maybe we must be thinking in Mexico like a country that shares value, like democracy, human rights.
Yes.
But also not to take for granted that we are a country that has a very positive view of what United States is. We really believe in the American way of life. We believe in the United States as a country that is always willing to work with Mexico and with the global community. So we must not take that for granted. It's not easy to have a good neighbor.
Yes.
So we are a good neighbor.
Yes. Listen, I'm a Philadelphia councilman, and I work with our surrounding counties, and my interest is jobs, educational opportunities, entrepreneurial opportunities, investment in trade that benefits the citizens of Philadelphia and our region. And so for me, having a good relationship with the country of Mexico is a plus. And then for us as a city with so many Mexican Americans living in our city, it's another plus to have a robust consul general and consulate here. And in fact, we are looking forward to Mexican Week, May 1st through May 6th.
That's it. We are going to celebrate the Mexican Week this week. Thank you so much. You are all invited to celebrate with us the Mexican Week, because this Mexican Week is not only for Mexican, but for all the community together.
Hey, I participate. I enjoy it. I'm not Mexican, but I have a great time.
You are a great supporter of the Mexican activities here in Philadelphia. And it's going to take place from May 1st to May the 6th.
Yes.
There are plenty of activities. We are going to be raising the Mexican flag in City Hall May 1st, so please join us on that day. I think that is the proper opportunity to show that Philadelphians embrace diversity.
Yes, everybody come on out to City Hall. It's between North Broad and East Market Street at 11:30. We're going to do the flag raising, and it's always a colorful, fun event with music and everything.
That's it. We're also going to have art exhibitions like in Secate, in Norristown. Yes. Also a culinary demonstration at the Philadelphia Museum of Art on Wednesday, May 3rd.
Food, yes, food.
Mexican food is an international heritage.
Yes.
So we must celebrate that, because maybe you will think, 5 people decide that the Mexican food is very good. No, it needs to pass several exams in the United Nations to be of international heritage.
Oh, okay.
Because Mexican food is a tradition that goes from the mothers, the grandmothers, to the sons, to the granddaughter. It goes through the generations, and it's related with the earth.
Yes.
So that's why it's an international heritage. So we are going to have a culinary demonstration at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. We also have the Barnes Foundation Philadelphia participating with a folk band. It's going to take place also there.
Okay.
And we are going to have other type of activities that we have the complete week. Several Mexican restaurants are going to be offering a special menu to celebrate the Mexican week. So as you can see, it's not only part of making party, it's also culture, art, tradition, history. And because of that, because of what? Because Cinco de Mayo is, I think, the emblematic day where all the Mexican immigration joins together to celebrate their contributions to the North American community. And Cinco de Mayo, it's also to celebrate when a very important country was defeated by Mexico. It's the celebration in which a widely recognized army underestimated the capacity of the Mexicans and of the Mexican government to face adversities. So we are good at that. We face adversities very well, no matter in what year, as we are facing it now in this moment.
Let me ask you this. For those who are listening who say, wow, I want to really celebrate and have some of this food and enjoy the music and culture, where can they learn more about Mexican Week? Is there a website?
Yes, you just need to Google Consulate of Mexico, and that it will take you to our webpage, and you will find the information of the Mexican Week. So please Google Consulate of Mexico to find all the information about it.
Okay, fantastic. Now, for our listeners, let me tell you that Consul General Kerber is quite well educated in law and international law. She received her bachelor's degree in law, a master's degree in international law, and then she has a doctorate, so she has her PhD in international public law. And so how has that background, how has that led you to becoming a diplomat, and how does it help you in your job?
Well, it has helped me a lot because now I have very good arguments to fight with my husband.
Yes, that's what my wife says.
No.
She said just because you can talk well doesn't mean you're right.
No, but I always enjoy studying law.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that I wanted to really deal with the problems between countries.
Yes.
So I decided to study international law to make my PhD on international law. And what better way to practice international law than working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? And that's why I decided to be part of the Foreign Service since 1991.
Yeah, it's really a very admirable concept. I mean, we have enough problems, neighbors to neighbors, and family to family, and then now you're talking about nation to nation, understanding each other, getting past the kind of the myths and getting to the truths and how we can mutually benefit each other.
Yes, of course. What I have learned is you always need to be open to dialogue. Never underestimate nobody, no country, no person, no counterpart.
Mm-hmm.
You will always be learning from the others.
Yes.
Be humble.
Yes.
Very humble, because otherwise you will lose. So that has helped me a lot to do my job.
Yes.
And I can tell you that the consular job is one of the most human jobs that I have ever experienced. I have been working in embassies and international organizations, on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as well. But I have found that the consular activity is where you can help people in a very direct way.
Right.
And it allows you to create a very interesting network of strategic allies that share your same spirit.
Now, I know that you have personally invested time in many humanitarian causes, but let me just point out one and get some comments from you, because you in particular are a champion for women.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I've been, 49% of international migration is done by women. And every time we talk about migration, we always figure this man that goes to another country to have a better job, to provide their families, but we are forgetting that 49% of people crossing borders all around the world are women. And we hadn't give them a voice to really come out and say what are their experiences, what are their needs, how they had impact in the places they had established their lives. So here, that's why I create this window for the Empower of Women when I was in Kansas. And because the results this window had at the Consulate of Mexico, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs decided that that window was going to be replicated in the 50 consulates that Mexico has in the United States.
Wow.
We are one of the biggest networks of consulates all around the world. So this window has been replicated in the 50 consulates, and what we are trying to do is not only help those women that had suffered from domestic violence, that are a lot of them, but also to provide them with all the services that the consulate can give them. If they require a shelter place, we can give them a shelter place. If they need medical assistance, psychological assistance, we can provide them with them. If they want to finish their studies or find scholarship for their kids, we have all that information. If they want to put a business, we can help them with that. So I'm always telling people, and especially women, don't think if the consulate is can help you. The consulate is available to help you.
If somebody wants help or someone listening knows of someone who may need help from the Mexican consulate in Philadelphia, is there a phone number that you could give them for them to contact someone?
Yes, so they can call to the 215-922-4262. That's the telephone of the Consulate of Philadelphia. And they can also go to Consulate of Mexico in Philadelphia. They can Google it and it will appear. We also have Facebook and Twitter. Facebook, we are ConsulMexPhila, and in Twitter, we are also at ConsulMexPhila. We answer all the questions that people put us in media.
Okay, well, that's very helpful. Let me just kind of say that when I was in my mid-20s, I was in the Philadelphia DA's office, and I went to visit my aunt in Korea, my first trip to Korea, and she was very involved as a assembly member, National Assembly member, and the International YWCA in women's rights. And I didn't really understand at the time that what she was doing internationally were dealing with issues such as if you murder your wife out of passion, it should be a crime, or women cannot hold property, or women, just the level of just inequity and what women suffered at the time. I hope it has been addressed, but, because sometimes here in the U.S. we think about, it must be about like some preference issue, but it was very, very harsh realities that women were facing, globally.
Yeah, and it's complicated because, as you have said, women it's complicated to be women. But it's more complicated if you are a woman in another country and you are part of a minority and you don't speak the language and you don't know the legal structure of that country or the administrative structure of that country. So if something happens to you, you don't know where to go. Right. So that's why we are trying to help all migrant women. Even though we are the Mexican consulate here, we share this information with all the Latinas that live here in this area. So we are trying to pass the word that if you have any problem as woman, as migrant woman, come to the consulate. We can help you. We can give you the information to really face your reality. Don't stay in conflicted relations. Don't think that you don't have rights. You have a voice, and we can help you to make your voice be heard.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. This is the Consul General of Mexico, Alicia Kerber-Palmer. And stay tuned because we're going to hear from Christian Crosby of the Sixers when we come back right after these messages.
Thank you, David.
You are listening to In the Know with David O. Informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio on 860 AM WWDB.
My friends, this is Joe Krause. You've heard me on Philadelphia radio now for over 20 years, and you know I don't often endorse products or people unless they are real game changers. I want to tell you about Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located in Center City, Philadelphia. And at the end of this short personal endorsement, I want you to consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness. If you are recovering from an injury, if you or a family member has been diagnosed with a disorder that has stopped you in your tracks, or if you're like me, determined to learn about wellness while getting yourself prepared to stay healthy so you can enjoy the blessings of your family. Remember the name of this warm and caring location, Weinerman Pain and Wellness. Why should you consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness? Because they are who you expect them to be. Weinerman Pain and Wellness, on the web at WeinermanPainandWellness.com.
Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located at 100 South Broad Street, just south of City Hall. Call Weinerman Pain and Wellness at 215-988-9503. That's 215-988-9503. Call today. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the Philly Labor RX Injured Workers Pharmacy Network, featuring PPC Pharmacy, First Choice Pharmacy, and Precision Scripts, providing injured workers with premium products and services from the point of injury through the entire healing process. The Philly Labor RX Pharmacy Network cares about injured workers.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Okay, we're back. All right. All right, we could be here in Philadelphia, or actually Bala Cynwyd, Pennsylvania, and our show, we focus on the greater Philadelphia metropolitan area, and everyone in the sound of my voice knows who the Sixers are, and I'm sure you've been to a game. It's full of excitement. It's an economic engine for our city, and one of the very popular members of that Sixers team is Christian Crosby. Now, his technical title is Philadelphia 76ers Content and Integrated Marketing Manager, but you know him as the voice and face of the Sixers. He does interviews. He is involved with the Summer Hoops Tour. He does live events, all kind of things, and that has been his background from March 2012 to to the present. He's been the live events coordinator in addition to being the content and integrated marketing manager. And before that, he was the flight squad captain. And before that, he was the hair, H-A-R-E, the hair raiser. And so, Christian Crosby, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right,
it's a party in here.
Well, listen, it's a party wherever you go. I was just saying, like, I was on my cell phone and I saw a tweet from you or something, and you're there with Kevin Hart having a good time. What's going on?
A lot is going on, but first I just got to say thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Thank you for being here.
To be in the room with you guys is incredible, and to be a guest on the show is an honor, so thanks for having me. I'm just trying to stay busy. I'm trying to be like you one day.
Oh, my goodness. The only difference is I think you're going to make a lot more money than me. But, you are pretty busy. You're doing the Sixers. You're hosting events. You're like a celebrity out there. And I thank you for being involved with PHL Live Center Stage. You did that one year as well.
I did. That was great. I hope to do more with you.
We'll love to have you.
Yeah.
And I have a thought in mind. Which I'm not going to say on the air, but I'm going to say after this.
We'll talk offline.
Yes,
I'll have my people connect with your people.
Yes, exactly. Folks, that means he and I are going to talk after this. But so let me ask you this. I mean, what does your job actually entail? Because so many times people see the fun part of it, but they don't actually know what the work is.
Yeah. So my job has kind of evolved into a different job than I originally started with the Sixers.
Okay.
It's been a long journey, but what I currently do with the Sixers, the whole content integrated marketing manager title, basically I'm a strategist for our digital, so I come up with a lot of creative ideas, whether it has to do with me being included in it or not, whether it be for the players, whether it be for creative things for our interactive teams, the dancers, the dunk team, or whether it's an event that the Sixers have coming up. How do we promote this in a fun way? How do we promote this digitally? How do we promote this in a creative way?
Right.
For the millennials, because, millennials want instant gratification. They want to see things and hear things quickly. They don't want a lot of information. They just want to know exactly what they need to know, and they want to know it right away. And it's at the point now where, millennials and fans, they're smart. They know advertisement. They know when they're seeing an ad. And now it's come to a point where you need to be creative to get the advertisement out and to get the message out. So what my role has kind of evolved into with the Sixers is being that idea guy. Coming up with, so we have this event coming up, or we have this project. Why don't we do this to promote it? Or how about we make this video? Or how about this idea? We integrate that message with this random idea over here.
Right,
we put those two things together, and all of a sudden it's like, what am I watching? But I want to see more.
Right.
That's what my job has evolved into over time. Also, obviously, serving as a personality, as a voice for the Sixers, like you said, whether it be hosting the actual games, or interviewing the players for digital content, or hosting a live event on behalf of the Sixers. So,
and you make those interviews fun. Listen, I haven't seen many of your interviews, but from what I'm gathering and talking to you and knowing you a little bit, you don't just like put a microphone under somebody's mouth. Like, you come up with some wacky, interesting, cool ways that don't offend the guests. By the way, they have fun,
not.
But you're just really kind of attracting people to see what's going on. So how do you come up with that? What's the magic of all that?
Honestly, I think over time I've just developed a knack for just having fun and doing it professionally. I started with the Sixers 10 years ago, which is crazy because I feel old saying that. But I started out as one of the dunkers on the team.
Can you dunk?
Not without a trampoline. Actually, you know what? On a good day,
you can.
During a fast break, when I'm just feeling it, I can do it. But other than that, no.
I can't even with the trampoline. So no.
With a trampoline, I'm pretty good.
All right.
But I'm slowing down. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta get back in, gotta get a little bit back to it. But started out there, fell in love with the organization. I was pretty young and dumb, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew what realm I wanted to be in, and I knew I wanted to be an entertainer. I knew eventually I wanted to give back and do good. I aspired to be like a philanthropist of some sort. And then as I grew up, I knew I wanted to own my own business, in some way. So,
and we're going to get into that in a second, folks, but actually he does have his own business, kind of, right?
Yes,
but
sure.
We'll get to that in a second.
For sure. So I guess when I came to the Sixers, I had no idea there were so many jobs involved in the NBA.
Right.
To me, I just thought there's a coach, there's like players, and there's I don't know what else is there, right?
So,
what else do you need?
Bring out the towels?
Had no right. There's a water boy, right? I know there's an assistant coach, but I didn't realize there's CR, there's PR, there's finance, there's game presentation, there's legal, there's all these different full-time positions, and so when I came to the Sixers, I was like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. I want to be a part. I didn't know how, but I just knew for sure that I was an entertainer. So it would be great to do something in that realm.
And so you found a role.
I did. I basically, as a dunker, my boss was the mascot. And so, there wasn't anything else to do but dunk at the games.
Right.
And so there was this one time he was like, hey, I have an appearance. I need some assistance. Does anyone want to help? So I'm like, me, I want to help. I'll come. So I ended up becoming the go-to guy for him. So he started doing all these appearances, and if he moved his finger a certain way, I'll be like, oh, that means he needs his little doll. Or if he did a certain gesture, I'm like, oh, that means he needs confetti. Like, I became his guy. I made his job so much easier to the point where he stopped asking other people to do it. He would only ask me to help him. And then that transitioned into me coming into the office a lot. So I started to know people there, and they were like, oh, that's Christian. That's the guy that helps our mascot. So over time, I just, made myself more valuable through doing things I wasn't even supposed to be doing, just going the extra mile. And going the extra mile really, really worked out for me. Over time, they discontinued that mascot, and they came to me and they said, we want you to run the dunk team now. Is that something you want to do? And I said, are you kidding me? Yeah, like, for sure. Like, of course. And once that happened, that was during the lockout year. And, I developed more public speaking skills. It started with me doing elementary schools and just doing read to achieves. And then, I got a little more trust. So now they're like, hey, can you host a season ticket member event? Sure. Then it evolved into, can you host our summer hoops tour? Great, yeah. Then it evolved into, can you host the draft party? Much more responsibility, much more involvement with higher executives and the players. So.
And your personality, your professional persona and charm has got to really develop because, folks, it's a full-time, it's hard work to be that charming and personable on the spot, the spot, right? And now they got you with the high rollers. How were you handling the pressure?
Look, I would be lying to everyone if I said I didn't make a million mistakes on the way. I wasn't the greatest when I started out. My first year dunking, I fell on my neck. I went to the hospital. I was the worst. Oh my goodness. I flailed. I threw the ball. I did everything. I was blessed to have people around me who actually cared about me. And that's something that a lot of people don't get. And I realized that at a young age. Wow, I have people in this organization who truly care. And they helped me along the way because I made a lot of mistakes.
Let me stop for a second. For our listeners who want to follow you or who want to know what's going on or get in touch, what's the social media? How do they get in?
So I'm on any social media platform you could join, from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram. My name is the same on every platform just to make it easy. I recommend everyone do that, by the way. Councilman, if you need help with that, I got you. Just make your name the same on everything, please.
My last name has 2 letters, so it's easy for me.
It's hard to follow, but that's a whole nother story. But you can follow me at Christian Crosby. So that's spelled out CHRISTIAN, Christian. And then Crosby, CROSBY. You can follow me. I would recommend you follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm most active on those, but you can follow me on Facebook, on Snapchat, on all of those social media platforms. See what I'm doing. I post every day. So if you don't like a lot of stuff on your timeline, do not follow me because you're gonna see. I'm gonna post every day. So
right. Now let me ask you this, because you actually started a movement called, quote, Nice Guys, and then you founded Nice Brand LLC.
That is correct. So I guess along my Sixers journey, I fell in love with business, and I was like, you know what, I would love to run my own. Me and my buddies, one guy here I have with me, Benjamin.
I met him before.
Great guy.
Yes.
Good-looking guy, too.
Good-looking tall guy. Tall guy. Is that part of, the basketball
thing? Guy. Yeah, I'm going to manage him. He's going to start modeling soon.
Yes, all right.
We grew up and we were always taught. We were lucky enough to have parents who taught us to be ourselves no matter what. And as we continued to be ourselves, we realized, a lot of people aren't like us. We're kind of corny. Right. Growing up, we were just like, you know what? Instead of following the crowd, because everyone goes through it. I had my years where I was being a follower, and I always had guilt about it because I was raised right. Thank God. Thank God I had the guilt. Yes. And I always knew deep down inside, I'm like, nah, I need to really stay true to who I am. So this Nice Guys thing was essentially that. I've always wanted to give back and do community work. My father and my mother have done it their entire lives, and I just wanted to follow in their footsteps, but I wanted to do it in a cooler way.
Right.
So I was like, all right, well, it's not necessarily cool to be a nice guy we'll just call it being yourself, right? It's not necessarily cool. A lot of negative things in the media get all the praise. A lot of negative things in pop culture get a lot of praise. And, I wanted to change that because obviously I want to be an entertainer. So I said, let's call it Nice Guys. Let's just make this like a thing, like whatever we do. If we make a funny video, we'll tag Nice Guys. And then that idea evolved into a T-shirt. So I started wearing a T-shirt. I made a logo and wore a T-shirt, and everyone started being like, yo, I want a T-shirt. I want a T-shirt. That's dope. That's awesome. And then the light bulb clicked, and I was like, oh, I should start selling T-shirts that say Nice Guys on it. What?
Right.
I'm a genius. So started Nice Brand. And along the way of starting it, that's when I got in contact with a woman named Robin Valentino.
Yes.
She's the director of cause media for the Children's Hospital. And we linked up, and I told her my idea. I'm like, hey, look, I think this is a never done before idea. She's like, actually, there's thousands of people doing this. And I was like, oh, well, but no, she really liked what I was trying to do. And she gave me the opportunity to have an official partnership with them. And that's kind of how it all went down. And that was during my time with the Sixers. It was great. It was awesome. I learned a lot. We are revamping Nice Brand right now currently. So it's kind of at a standstill for now. But I do have another venture that is a bigger idea, same purpose. So. Yeah, man, it's crazy, but looking back, like I never thought I'd be doing any of this stuff, to be honest with you. But just through continuing to do things and try things, opportunities have opened up, and I've fell in love with everything that I'm doing now.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. I mean, in your last minute or so, you have any advice for young folks out there?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I love talking to kids about this, because like you said, people follow me on the internet and they just see me with Kevin Hart and they're just like, oh, I want to do that. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like, do you really want to do this? Because there's X, Y, and Z that you have to do before you can even consider getting to this point. My biggest advice.
I had to be elected to council before I even got close to him.
And that's a long journey.
Oh, my goodness.
Blood, sweat, and tears, right?
Yes.
I have worked with the Sixers for 10 years, and I am finally interviewing Kevin Hart.
Wow.
So I have a 10-year journey, and I'm not saying that everyone's journey has to be 10 years. Some people get it much faster than others, and everyone has their own life and own path. But my advice is to do. And when I say do, I mean as young as you are, it does not matter. You can do anything that you want to do. And I think a lot of times people are afraid to start doing things, because they're either afraid they're going to be perceived at a low point, because you have to start low. Yes. Everyone does.
Yes.
So they may be perceived at a low point, or they're afraid to fail.
Yes.
And they're afraid what people may think if they fail. Failure is good, because if you fail, you'll learn what to never do again.
Right.
And success is failing over and over and over and over and over until you get to that next level. And I have failed 1,000,000 times. And the only reason I interviewed Kevin Hart is because I failed 1,000,000 times.
Yes.
And I made sure I didn't make those mistakes again. So my advice to anybody listening, or anybody at a young age or at an older age who is just prideful, start doing what you want to do. At any capacity, you have access to the internet. And because of that, even if you don't have people around you naturally, you can find people and put them around you now, because of the luxury that you have with the internet. And not even that, just if you have the drive and you have the desire to do something, start doing it. If you want to host a radio show, start a podcast, you have an iPhone or a smartphone, you can do it. If you don't have an iPhone or a smartphone, you can go to your friend and use their voice notes and record it, and you can have them uploaded on the internet and do it every single day. And I guarantee you, just by doing that, you'll either meet somebody or know somebody who will introduce you to somebody who will get you to the next point, and then the next point, and then the next point. So it goes on and on. So my advice to anyone out there is start doing now. Don't wait until you graduate from college. Don't wait until you graduate from high school. Don't wait until someone comes up to you and offers you an opportunity, because that may never even happen if you're not doing. You have to develop your craft and your skills, and you're only going to do that over time and through experience. So that's it, man. That's my biggest advice to everyone. That's what I live by now. I'm still doing it.
All right. Quote from Christian Crosby: Failure is the building blocks of success.
Cut out.
All right. Stay tuned because we're going to come back with our guest that will be talking about how to prevent scams. And that is such an important topic. She is from AARP. Her name is Alicia Foreshaw Rouse, and she'll be right with us after these words.
You are listening to In the Know with David O. Informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio on 860 AM WWDB.
My friends, this is Joe Krause. You've heard me on Philadelphia radio now for over 20 years, and you know I don't often endorse products or people unless they are real game changers. I want to tell you about Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located in Center City, Philadelphia. And at the end of this short personal endorsement, I want you to consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness. If you are recovering from an injury, if you or a family member has been diagnosed with a disorder that has stopped you in your tracks, or if you're like me, determined to learn about wellness while getting yourself prepared to stay healthy so you can enjoy the blessings of your family. Remember the name of this warm and caring location, Weinerman Pain and Wellness. Why should you consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness? Because they are who you expect them to be. Weinerman Pain and Wellness, on the web at WeinermanPainandWellness.com.
Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located at 100 South Broad Street, just south of City Hall. Call Weinerman Pain and Wellness at 215-988-9503. That's 215-988-9503. Call today. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the Philly Labor RX Injured Workers Pharmacy Network, featuring PPC Pharmacy, First Choice Pharmacy, and Precision Scripts, providing injured workers with premium products and services from the point of injury through the entire healing process. The Philly Labor RX Pharmacy Network cares about injured workers.
At any given moment, somewhere in America, a baby is taking a first step, a developmental milestone. But for too many parents, a baby's first steps aren't just a milestone. They're a miracle. These are the parents of babies who were born prematurely or with birth defects. It's a crisis affecting more than 500,000 babies in the United States each year. You can help them by joining volunteers like you who walk in March for Babies. The money you raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Together, our steps make stronger, healthier babies a reality for thousands of families. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org to take the steps that help make milestones and even miracles possible. Who will you march for?
Introducing the YMCA. What, you already know the why? Or so you think. Sure, you know the why for a swim, a workout, even a game of hoops. But did you know we're more than that? We're a cause. When you take your jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Take a cardio class, while kids are in an after-school enrichment program. Practice your downward-facing dog as a teen practices her leadership skills. That's the why. We work with people no matter their age, income, or background and give them the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive, all with one simple goal in mind, to strengthen our community. And we've got so much more that does just that. So while you might think of the Y as that place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. Introducing the Y. We're so much more than a place. We're a cause. Visit ymca.net/more.
All right, and welcome back to the show. I'm Councilman David O, and you are listening to In the Know with David O on WWDB 860 AM. Our next guest is Alicia Foreshaw Rouse. She is with AARP. Formerly, it was called the American Association of Retired Persons, but, you know, you could be as young as 50, I believe, to be a member of AARP, and what a powerful organization. I just learned, and I didn't know this, that AARP was founded in 1958. That was really not that long ago, but in particular, Angela is going to talk to us about Operation Stop Scams.
Absolutely. Hello, Councilman. How are you?
Doing very well. Thanks for joining us today.
One of the hardest working councilmen we have
in
Philadelphia.
Thank you very much.
And we are so honored that you represent all of your amazing constituents, and Philadelphia is a lot stronger for it. So we thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm just going to shout out my colleagues because this event is co-hosted or co-supported by Councilwoman Cindy Bass, Councilman Al Taubenberger, and Councilman Derek Green, along with other organizations.
Absolutely. And I can tell you we've had so much support from other members of council that are just inundated with calls from constituents about the rampant and rising problems of fraud and scams in Philadelphia and, of course, the region. When we have our newly elected Attorney General and other AGs across the country really taking a look at how frauds and scams are plaguing their states, it's something that we really need to pay attention to.
Yes. Let me start with the specifics, because you're actually doing something about it. So Operation Stop Scams is going to be on Saturday, April the 20th. Oh, actually, do I have that right? Saturday, April the 29th.
Absolutely.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And could you tell our listeners the rest of the details?
Yes, so it's going to be, as you said, on Saturday, April the 29th from 10 to 2 p.m. at the Prince Masonic Lodge parking lot. And that address is 4301 North Broad Street. So come on down, bring your bundles of papers with your sensitive information for us to shred free of charge. This is an effort that AARP is so very passionate about on ending the victimization of our most vulnerable in the communities, and not just for the 50-plus. You know, people are victims of frauds and scams multi-generation, households even. I, unfortunately, was a victim of identity theft as early as in my college days at one of the major universities here in the region.
Did everybody know you were wealthy or something? What happened?
They must have read the memo. I didn't get that memo.
Maybe it was your Lamborghini that you kept driving on campus. I don't know.
But I was a college student, you know, working 2 jobs and taking a full course load, and I got a call from a credit card company. It's like, oh, you know, you opened up a new card, and we just want to verify that you have a new $1,000 charge in Long Island, New York. It's like, well, I'm in Philadelphia, so I wasn't in Long Island. So I learned at an early age that fraud is something that you really need to own and take into counsel to see how you can prevent it in your lives and your community as well.
So probably somebody got some information that you discarded or that you weren't aware of, and it just had sensitive information on it.
Absolutely. So basically, I probably, you know, as many college students do or any others, filled out, you know, credit card applications, and what happens? Your mailbox is full of the offers. And I did not take the time to dispose of them properly, you know, so that information probably had my name and maybe my date of birth and maybe some other pieces of information. And we had these folks that really wanted to just kind of glean off of my sensitive information and open up fraudulent accounts. So this is happening rampant, and we know across the state recently we have over 14,000 people in Pennsylvania who have fell victim to identity theft, and that continues to happen every year. So we're so happy to be joining forces with council to really help to educate folks on what they should do to prevent identity theft. This event, again, is free of charge, and it's really a way for them to secure their pieces of information. Well, what information are we talking about? We're talking about sensitive information that would contain your full name, your date of birth, your social security number, your signature, any account numbers and or passwords that you may have written down on your documents. And as we know, sometimes our lives are really hectic, really busy. So what happens? You have piles and piles and piles of information at home, or maybe things that come in the mail that you mean to dispose of, but you just don't have time to do. And you become overwhelmed and inundated. Many people are very good. They're diligent. They go and they buy their home shredding, you know, machines. But sometimes when you have piles of sensitive information, it may take your entire Saturday, if not weekend, to do it. So one year leads into the other. So we have people that are joining us from all over Philadelphia. So we want you to come out on Saturday, bring your information. We ask that you put them in paper bags, because we're going to have 2 huge shredding trucks to shred your private and personal information, and you actually stay and watch your information be shredded before you. So you know what went in there is being destroyed and being destroyed appropriately, so folks can't go and use that information against you.
Now, there is no age minimum in order to participate with this. Anybody can come, right?
Absolutely. It's for anyone. And even though AARP is an organization for people 50 and older, we're really talking about families and households.
Yes.
You know, so if you are victimized, chances are someone else in your family could be victimized as well. If not, then your community. So we want to really have people know that, you know, some people say knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is really power. What are you doing with the information you're learning? Are you helping your community? Are you educating family members? Even sometimes strangers. You can say, I heard that there's a shred event happening in North Philly. Let's go out and get our information shredded properly.
Yeah, so many people, and unfortunately, so many people who may not think they have a lot of resources, they're not wealthy, they've got just tons of paperwork piling up, medical bills, deposit slips, information from banks or credit card companies, things that they may not think of as valuable, but it's all piling up someplace. And, it's really important to get all that stuff, put it in a paper bag, and take it down to this free shredding event.
And I can tell you that if you're ever victimized, it's not a simple task to get it straightened out. It can take you months, sometimes years, to rectify what one person may have done to you in a day.
Yes.
So it's worth the time to take to secure your private information.
Yeah, now, we only have, believe it or not, like a minute left or so, but could you tell us a little bit about your mission with AARP?
Absolutely. We're in business, really, to make lives better for people 50 and older. But again, it's not just a person 50 and older, it's your entire household. We want to help people get better access to affordable health care, really help to see what it's like to live in a world where you're financially secure, and how to live out your dreams. How do you have personal fulfillment in what you want to do? You've been a teacher for 30 years, now you want to be an artist.
Yes.
What's that transition like? Well, we can certainly help you fulfill that. And of course, we've been talking a lot about technology and government. We really want to encourage people to be involved in their civic landscape. Volunteer. That is just so rewarding, to volunteer and help your community build. You know, there's so much you can do, and you know that, Councilman, as to what civic engagement can do to build a city.
Well, let me ask you this. For those listeners, and listen, you could be 50 and not think you're ready for AARP. You are ready, and you could add your voice and everything. Do you have social media, phone number, any contact information where they could go to learn more?
Absolutely. Well, for fraud, we have an amazing hotline for fraud. If you want to speak to trained volunteers who just dedicate their time to help you figure out what to do in matters of fraud, that number is 877-908-3360. That's for fraud, but you can certainly find us on Twitter and Facebook at @AARP.org.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so again, for our listeners, this is a free event. It is put on by AARP. You know that name. That is a credible, trustworthy name. Saturday, April 29th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There's no age minimum. Bring your stuff out. They got 2 huge shredders out there and all the people to help you. And you can be assured that your items will be destroyed to your benefit. And, listen, get this done. Any final departing words, Angela?
We look forward to seeing you out there. And one message, just volunteer and engage in your community.
Angela, I want to say you have a great radio voice. You should totally do radio because you're killing it.
Councilman, I'll invite you back.
Well, listen, tune in next week for In the Know with David O.
You've been listening to In the Know with David O on 860 AM WWDB. Tune in again next Tuesday at 2 p.m. for more informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio with Philadelphia Councilman David O.